Ta-da, there you go, look. That was good. That was time in a minute. I'm actually sticking to the clock as well. That's good, isn't it? Fucking sticking to the clock. How is everyone? Look, I'll tell you now, I'm alive and kicking and well and living the dream as we do. But look, I've got some notes here, right? It's been mental, chicken oriental last couple of weeks. It's been more hairy than a gorilla's armpit. You have that one for free, a gorilla's armpit. But basically though, right, I've been thinking about a lot of things. And I've just written something down earlier, but that's not where I've written it down. I've written it down on someone else's, on the back of someone else's, no doubt. Stuff, and it's about like sort of how do we take responsibility, right? Because I can go from tangent and digress from here, there, and everywhere and whatever else, right? But then it's about how do we take responsibility, and this is something that I've learned to do over the recent times, right? We take responsibility for like how can you put it? Through separation from a breakup, you take responsibility. How do you do that when you're getting stuff thrown at you anyway, and you're being like, accused of everything under the sun, and you want to be, you're being open and honest, but you're getting everything more thrown at you, and how you know, it's that whole mindset there is a head fuck, because literally taking responsibility for stuff is powerful. Do you know what? I'm looking everywhere, and it's over there. Look, you have to look at my chair for a minute. The chair the cat moved, right? Right, yeah. So look, accountability, right? When you're parenting, and accountability for when like you're going through your separation and for taking responsibility for things that you do wrong within the relationship. How does that work? Because I've tried doing that for many years now, and it's like I've even do that now with I've even taken that to another level, I think, with how I parent with Lila as well, because you've got a voice, you've got to let them use their voice, and I think you've got if you let them use their voice and then let them be there when you're picking up, basically. But then when you're not there to pick them up, you have to take accountability for that. You say, oh, do you know what, I could have done more, I should have done something differently. Owning your shit is much easier than fucking, and letting people make mistakes and making mistakes and learning from that is powerful. Yeah, it's much more powerful. And taking a step back. So one thing I've learned to do is massively, right? When I first started going through the beginning stages of separation and fighting and not seeing your kids for however long, I think for me and Lila it was about 2.5, 3 years in total. And I think, well, I don't think I know, my body's blocked out that pain. My body's blocked out that part of my life. You know, I was drinking heavily, but I was by the end of that first initial case, which was the worst case, by the end of that, we were like, I was within my UK guidelines, but I was angry still, and I had resentment, and I held so much anger in me still for so long, and you do for ages. And I think what I did, I think the sooner you can lose that anger and accept that life as you know it evermore is pretty much going to be screwed with, and you're not going to get them same pleasures that you once had, like Christmas Day mornings all the time. Like I don't. I sacrificed my Christmas days with Lila for Lila to have a big Christmas, because I think it's important. You don't want to take away her Christmas special moments, because Christmas is never going to be the same again anyway. Once your parents separate, it never is it? It's going to be always going to be different. But I think because Lindsay had or has a big family, and I don't have a big family at all actually. I would much rather Lila have that Christmas Day and all that special moments with her family now. Now, not everyone is gonna think that way, because you might be by yourself and you might be alone, and you might want your child to be with you on Christmas Day so you can actually celebrate Christmas Day, to give you a purpose to celebrate Christmas Day. And I think that there in itself is in itself a reason to want to spend Christmas Day and make your own traditions. Yeah, I just didn't think that way, and I was more like, I was a miserable fucker, and I am around Christmas anyway. So I would much rather like to spend that time with her mum. New Year's Eve for me was our Christmas, so we'd celebrate Christmas on Boxing Day normally, and I think I'd give her two birthdays as well. So you'd have to have her normal birthday, which you'd obviously not be part of, because normally what would happen is the residing parent would throw a nice big party for the child, to make sure that they know that they're loved, and that you're not, and that you know that you're not part of it. To hurt you more than to give the love of the child. Because don't forget, the children to these people who do alienate, in my mind, these people they're not able to love. They're not able to love. They're able to get what they can get from people. And I think once they've used and once they've got what they've got, the children, I think, from what I see and what I feel, and the research would suggest it as well, from what I've read, these people, these types of parents, they don't love their children. The children are just an extension of them. Yeah, they're just an extension of them, and they're a show, they're a puppet. And when you're a show and when you're a puppet and you're a centre of attention, and then when you're not a centre of attention anymore, and you want that attention still as a child, you're going to behave in a different way, and you're going to react in a different way. And I think that happens a lot with these parents. I think I see it happening, and I feel it's happening a lot with the people directly linked with me. And I think, no one's perfect, and I'm not saying by no means am I perfect. I saw Lila today, and it was like, some of the things she was saying. I love her brutal honesty, and I love the way that she is brutally honest with me and whatnot. But I couldn't help but think to myself, "Fuck, I've fucked that up." I've helped create and cause that, based on my relationship breakdown with Lindsay, and how I didn't deal with things always properly in the beginning instances when I first went through it. And that's why I do what I do now, to help people not make those same mistakes as what I made, because is and could be and can be and is fatal. Because the reason I was going through my stuff for so long was because I was behaving so badly in court. I can see that now. I couldn't see it then, because I was just angry. And when you're angry and you're fighting for things, and you're fighting for your daughter, and you're fighting for your son, or whatever it might be, and you're getting accused of things you haven't done, you're going to be fucking naturally, you're going to be angry. And when you've got someone there pouring petrol on you, which I had Matt O'Connor, when I had someone goading you on and prodding you and saying, yeah, you're gonna keep being angry. And I think that there in itself, that's something you want to try and bypass. You're going to be angry, and no one's going to tell you not to be, ever, because they've got no right to tell you not to be, because you've got every right to feel exactly how you feel. No one's got the right to criticise, condemn, or anything for anyone. Yeah, no one in my mind. Even in Mark, I'm just seeing that now. So even in Mark, how you doing? So for me, I think you've got to remember, most importantly, right? Nothing's ever permanent. You might get, like, when you're going through this stuff, you might get the best court order in the world ever. Yeah. And you might be, yes, top of the world. You go and try and deliver that. You try and deliver that, and then you try and go and get your kid for the first time following the court order, and then the court order is not followed. And then that's not followed. And then you're on your knees again, and you're down on your knees, and it's like you go from your highs and you go from your lows. in itself is a whirlwind, because then you find yourself going back into the whole process again, going through to enforce proceedings, and then you find that's even more difficult because the judges don't want you to enforce it, because it's going to mean bringing harm to generally what is the mum normally, and they'll try and put you off, and deter you from, are you sure you want to do that, because your relationship's already pretty broken, you don't want to make it worse and make you feel really, really bad for trying to enforce something, when if it was the man doing it on the other side, you wouldn't be getting questioned, that's for sure. It would be like fucking throw the book at him. 100%. But then that's life. Someone was moaning at me the other day, so they were saying, oh, we've got it so bad as men, we've got it so bad. I was like, we haven't really. Yeah, do you know what? Private law is shit for the majority. And I think, fair, I agree with that, I accept that. But then you've got the public law, which is not good on the mums and family units. Not only that, overall, as a whole equilibrium of things in the world, I think it pretty much levels itself out. If you've got people fighting for feminism and equal rights for women and all that stuff, and I say fair play, you've got men saying the same thing. We want equal rights and blah, blah, blah as well. But then what you're fighting for equal rights for, technically, probably couldn't do because of the gender. But then that gets you into a whole different sort of category of conversation. And that's not really something I'm really going to sort of go into, because, well, I couldn't I? It doesn't really matter. I could go and talk to myself for forever and ever in a day. But yeah, I'm not going to, because that'd be awkward. And I've got much more, quite a lot of writing to do, typing to do. With that in mind as well, it's something to remember, everyone, right? Something to remember. When you're in court, yeah, you don't always know what's going on, and you don't always know and understand what's what. And sometimes it can feel like they're going over you and they're just ignoring you. And that's because they are. But that's because you've got a good judge, generally, who has taken your statement, and they're trying to get to where you want them to go to, because they can see the same thing as you, but they're trying to do it in a way that's allowed by law, rather than you going in the way you want to go in, because there's a process in place, and that's what they have to follow. And sometimes what we do, because we're not thinking that we're getting listened to or heard, we can react to that in a way that's not positive, and it has a detrimental impact on the perception of you. So sometimes you've got to make sure that before, you've got to read the room, and that's when a good Mackenzie friend comes in and says, put your hand up now, or say it now, or blah, blah, blah. And that's when that's when you need to get your voice heard and ask the questions that you've got. But where possible, I think if you've got a good judge, then you will find that they want to get to where you're going to, but you need to let them get there. And one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make is interrupting and over-talking people, including your ex-partner, when they're saying whatever they're saying, and then you're interjecting. Now, again, I'm no one to speak. I've done it many, many times with, my situation. I've overspoken and all sorts. So I'm not preaching to say I'm perfect, because everything you say is easier said than done. But then that pulls into, again, it goes back to your own mental health and your own thinking about yourself, yeah? Because you're in control of whether you're happy or whether you're sad. What you're going through is life-changing, and what you're going through is missing your children. And you've probably got allegations at you and all sorts of shit. Yeah, you can go through everything. But you're still, if you've got a clear conscience, then you're still in charge of your feelings. You're still in charge of, if you smile, even if you don't feel like smiling, if you smile, it releases endorphins, and it actually makes you feel a little bit better. If you go out and help somebody, it's going to make you feel a little bit better while helping someone else. You choose your attitude, and you choose whether or not you're going to let people who are generally angry at you, or they're generally going to be ex-girlfriends, or in these situations your ex-wives or ex-girlfriends or ex-partners or ex-husbands, let them throw stones, but then you know what you know, and you know in your head what's the reality behind things. So you can only live your truth, and you can only live your happiness. So don't let people ever control you and your thoughts, because you are in charge of your own thoughts. It's a bit deep. I don't know if that's too deep or not, but ultimately you choose when you're happy. You can wake up in a bad mood and you can say, yeah, do you know what, I'm in a bad mood, but then you can listen to the birds sing and you'll be like, do you know what, life isn't so bad, yeah, there's life outside. And you can appreciate the birds singing, even though it's a bit quiet and nothing else is around because you're by yourself, but you can still appreciate the birds singing, you can appreciate life. And then you can be grateful, and you find yourself being grateful for the little things, and then when you're grateful for stuff, good things happen generally, because that's the way life works. Because that's just how it is. In my little warped little bubble, you take the rough with the smooth, and you take the rough, and you learn from it. And I think that's all anyone can ask of anyone. And on that little happy note, I've just got a thing come in that I need to deal with quickly. So I may or may not come back, but I don't think I will because I've got too much to do. But my throat's a bit fucked because I had the best weekend in the world ever in Nebworth last week. And I think that's why another reason I'm playing catch up with a lot of stuff as well. So if anyone does ever need me, then my number's everywhere. It's easier if you book an appointment on the Calendly app thing, but then my number's everywhere, so you can send a text message. In other news, peace and love. Stay happy. Light as glove. Stay cool.